on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.
Hi, Baton Rouge, especially District 10. Here we are again. And know that the Coleman Cares podcast purpose is to educate, to get information out there to all of you about what's going on. Yeah, you all remember that song, What's Going On? And so it is a pleasure here to have a pinch hitter for Billy Aaron. And so what he did was he sent the best. And so here we have Segen Ortigo. Yes. And Segen Ortigo is an attorney in the Adjudicated Property Department here in our city. And I'm so grateful to have you. Yeah, you're better, nice looking and nicer than Billy. I'll tell him that
Thank
myself.
You for having
Yes,
me.
yes, indeed. And so what we want to do today, first of all, tell us about your background. Tell me something about you. You know, it's good to know who's in the house. I can tell you that I represent District 10. I was born in District 10. I do District 10. That's all you see. I have 2 sons. I have 5 grandchildren. I have 4 great-grands. That's me. I come from a large family. I love family. I love people. That's me. Talk to me about you.
Well, I'm local as well. I grew up, I was born in Baton Rouge until I was about 8 or 9, and we moved out to about Geismar area. But I returned for LSU for undergrad and law school. I can't leave Baton Rouge.
No better place than Baton Rouge.
It's just beautiful.
Yes,
you know?
it is. Yes, it is.
And it's home. So
home. Home. That is important. Yes, indeed. So today we're going to talk about adjudicated properties. And so it is very important that the listeners and all of us understand what is adjudicated properties.
Okay, so it really starts with that first sheriff's tax sale. So most people are more familiar with a foreclosure, or when you see, you know, those big signs on the house that the sheriff is seizing it. That's where this all actually starts, and it's a years-long process. So when a property is foreclosed on, when people have not paid their property taxes for a period of 1 year or more, the property will go to foreclosure through the sheriff's office. At that point, a entity or person can actually come in and purchase it at that tax sale. They have their own auction. If no one does that, then it becomes adjudicated. It rolls over to the city. And that's where it ends up in my department. And at that point, if someone is interested in purchasing it, you would come to me and I can help you with that process.
Wow. So you all heard Segen, so you better make sure that you pay your taxes or it can end up on this list. And the thing that I know about this department, they are not going around looking for your property to put it on this list, but they must do what they must do. So make sure that you pay your taxes in order that your property will not become adjudicated. Why would a person property, you just told us why it would be listed on there. So does the city parish own the adjudicated property?
Well, that's an excellent question, and people call and ask us all the time because, you know, they want to know who has the responsibility of taking care of it. The city parish only owns tax title, and what that really means is we're in charge of it while you haven't paid your property taxes. We are not responsible for putting up fences and taking care of the property as a real owner would, we're basically just holding it in limbo while you don't pay your property taxes. So there is no responsibility of the city parish to physically guard or take care of these properties. It's still your property. We just own a tax lien on it.
Tax lien. Now that's just simple. And I love that. I love that, Segen, because we want to make it plain so the folk will understand exactly what adjudicated is. So the first step is that it will be, you don't pay your taxes. The next step is it goes on a list, adjudicated list after that year. Am I correct?
Well, the first, it would go to that sheriff's auction.
Well, the sheriff's
yes,
auction.
Their
yes.
auction, yeah.
Yes. And then from the sheriff's auction to the adjudicated list.
Right, and there is some confusion with the list, I think, because there's the list that we put out as the city when the properties are actually going to auction.
Okay.
And then there's just properties that are on, say, the assessor's rolls as adjudicated. And I was so glad you say, like, we don't go around just looking for properties to put on the list.
Yes.
So the list that we put out are files that people have approached us, did their research, found the property, was adjudicated on the assessor's roll, and then asked us to send it to auction. And that's how it got put on, say, the October list or the November list for auction.
And talk to us about that process, being put on that list, and how long the time frame, and then it comes before the council.
Exactly.
So explain that entire process to the folk out here.
Right. Because it is time consuming.
Yes.
And I think it helps to remember when you're trying to purchase adjudicated property that it only exists because someone lost it. So at any time, this person can come back and pay their taxes, and then your sale will no longer go through. So that is something really important to keep in mind throughout the process, and why it takes so long, why we have a month-long period that we wait while the council approves it, and why we have up to a 6-month waiting period while letters go out and an ad goes in the paper. Because, like we talked about earlier, the city doesn't really own it. We still have to give these people an opportunity to pay their taxes.
And once that opportunity is given and the time frame has been set in place, and when they come to a point of getting the property, then it becomes the owner's property. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So after those letters go out and the news ad goes out, and it's either 60 days if the property has been adjudicated more than 5 years. If it's been less than 5 years, we have to wait 6 months. All of this is from statute, so that's why it's so delineated like that.
That's right. That's it.
So after those waiting periods, you can close on the property and you would record your sale. And it does cost money to record at the clerk of court. It's usually $435, but that is the most important part, because if you don't record your sale, then it's not being put in your name. So
Definitely want to follow the process and get it put in your name. So that is the process there for acquiring adjudicated property. And so she said something here, and that is all of this is, in other words, by the law. By the law. So this is not something that Segen or her office is making up these rules, but it's legislated.
Yes.
And so these are some must-do activities before you can actually get on the list, your property, or someone purchase your property. And then there's a time frame. And you heard what she said. Folk can come back and get their property if within a certain time frame. So that's good. And so what about your where do they go? Where do they call? Where do they get this list from? So let them know.
Some resources, yeah. So obviously you would call the parish attorney's office. Renita Dixon or myself are happy to help you with general questions and things like that. You can also visit the brla.gov/adjudicated property website. There's a lot of resources on there. There's a couple other websites. It'll take you to assessor's map, another GIS map, just a couple resources to give you good visuals, I think, on things you may want to see. It'll also show you that list I was discussing when we do send properties to auction. That comes out the last week of the month. So we just had our October auction, and we're in that little lull right now before the list is out for November. So it should be out the end of this month or the 1st of November. And then you would be able to browse all of the properties where people have opened files for November.
So tell me, is there an adjudicated list by districts?
There is not, and I'm glad you asked that question as well, because one we get all the time is there a comprehensive list of all adjudicated properties, or say all adjudicated properties with buildings on them? And unfortunately there isn't, simply because it changes every day based off of who's paying their taxes. We have people redeem every day. We have people lose them every day. So it's just not kept in a comprehensive way like that. And that does kind of rope back into how we discussed earlier, where we don't go seeking for your property to sell.
Yes. So, and residential, is there a specific list for residential or businesses, or are they all on the same list of adjudicated
They're
property?
all on the assessor's roll. It would just say adjudicated.
Okay.
But when you say, you would call me and let me know, I'm interested in purchasing this adjudicated parcel. So I'm the one who would actually do the research and find out, okay, well, this lot has been sold as a commercial lot, and then I would let you know that throughout this process.
How long you been doing this?
Well, I started as a secretary in 2023, and I was very privileged to be able to stay on as an attorney when I passed the bar in May.
Wow, wow, yes. But you say started at the bottom, now you're here, huh?
So grateful.
Yes, indeed, very grateful. There's another program that's under you all's umbrella, and that is the Motor-Own program. So talk to the audience about the Motor-Own.
Okay, yeah, the Motor-Own program is really interesting, and it ties in greatly with, just cleaning up property. So it's meant for people who take care of the property next door to them. So you have to be an adjacent landowner. And that's a very common question we get. We get people who are like, well, I've been taking care of 20 properties all over Baton Rouge. And unfortunately, it wouldn't fit into the criterion unless you owned the property next to all of those properties. So how this one works is, if you're an adjacent landowner, you would pay the certified funds to open a file like you would a regular one. It's a little bit cheaper. And then instead of going to auction, you fill out an affidavit, and it's notarized by me or anyone at the parish attorney's office. And you bring in a third party who is attesting that you have been taking care of that lot like you say you are. So what that program does is it allows people to not have to go to auction when they've been taking care of the property for 20, 30 years, like some of these people have.
Wow. So what you're saying is that your property must be touching
Yes.
the property that you've been mowing all along.
Yes.
Okay, and it's just that simple. Mow to own it. Mow to own it, but it has to be touching that property. How long has that been in effect?
I believe it's been a program since about 2016 or 17.
Okay, so it's been on the books for a minute
For
there.
a while,
Yes.
yeah.
Because I know of several folk that were able to go through that particular program in order to get property. So talk about the steps and how long it takes in order for it to be solidified.
Yeah, and that's a good question too. So, because it sounds so much easier than regular adjudicated, right? So it's like it's going to be so much faster.
Yes.
Well, we would like it to be, but since it's still the sale of adjudicated property, and I should have prefaced with that, the lawn that you have to be taken care of still has to be adjudicated property in order for me to sell it. So if you just start taking care of your neighbor's lawn and he still owns it and is up to date on his property taxes, I can't sell you his property. But you know, if the property is adjudicated, you live next door, you've been taking care of it, it follows the regular adjudicated process, so we still have those legal waiting periods. So it's going to take, 8, 9 months, sometimes a year, depending. But the benefit to it is you're not going to auction. You're not going to risk someone else coming in and owning it when you live next door and have been taking care of it.
And when we think about that, that is a great way for people to kind of help their neighborhoods look better, be better, and being good neighbors there on property that is adjudicated. And again, property taxes have not been paid, but the neighbor, and again, that neighbor property is bumping up against that piece of property, but it gives them an opportunity to truly be a great neighbor and to get something out of it, and that is property, and that helps our communities. I know that I get several calls about the grass. I went to Live After 5 Friday, and the gentleman was asking me about the grass there that's growing up, and you can't see the stop signs because of the grass that's out there. And so in this way, if a person is upkeeping the property, the lawn, the whatever, that right there is a big help, a great big help. And anyway, here in Louisiana with the rain, the grass does grow. And so as a side note, I'm gonna get to that piece of property that you all just asked me about with checking to see about getting that grass cut, because that is of utmost importance. So what else you have to share with us about all that great stuff you all doing in that parish attorney's office under the umbrella of adjudicated properties?
I think I saw a little note over there about the addresses, property addresses, and we really encourage you to do your research with these properties, particularly using the assessor, their office, and their website, because the parcel ID number, which is assigned by the tax office, is the most accurate assigner of the property. So, for example, it's very common in Baton Rouge, we have these skinny shotgun lots, for example.
Yes.
And you may have a house on both lots. Well, if both are adjudicated and you only bring one of them, you meant to bring both. You wanted to buy that house. But, if you hadn't stopped at the assessor's office and found that out, or if no one told you, how would you know? So that's why we haven't been putting the address numbers for the parcels, because that parcel ID number is just the most accurate. And we really encourage you to find that out so that there's no miscommunication between what you're trying to buy and what I'm able to sell you.
And so there we are. You said something, do your homework. Do your homework. And I'm so grateful that you said that, because we have some young people in our studio here along with us. And when you say do your homework, I know their ears perked up. And the thing about it, these young people in here, they do their homework. I know that. But it is of utmost importance, if you are interested in a piece of property, do your homework. You don't just call the different offices and then want folk to tell you how to get it for you. Do that. You got to have some skin in the game. Do your homework. Find out, ride around and see if that particular piece of property is on the adjudicated list. And then you do your research, do your homework, and then you're going to come up with something. Either yes it is, no it's not. If it is, then you follow the process, and then you'll be glad that you did.
Yeah.
And so that is of utmost importance. And so again, let them know your telephone number, the persons, where you're located, all of that.
All right, guys, we are on 222 St. Louis Street, City Hall, 9th floor. You could either ask for Miss Renita or myself, Segen Ortigo. My email address is sortigo@brla.gov. That email is also listed on the website, and our phone number is 225-389-3114. That is just the front desk, though, so I do want to keep in mind that when you call, just ask for me or Renita, and we'd be happy to help you.
And I know that works, because I just did that Friday, and I did get Segen. And so you call that number, then you ask for who you're looking for, and as I said, make sure that you've done your homework and not just looking for someone to walk this whole thing out for you. You got some information there, Segen? Anything else there, or is that a handout for me, or
It's just for you, yeah.
it's just for me? Oh,
yes.
wait, I'm privileged. This is just wow for me. And guess what? I am going to make copies of this and have this here at the Leo S. Butler Center for you to retrieve if you'd like, because what Segen has done, she's answered the question, what is adjudicated property? Does the city parish own adjudicated property? And the answer to that is no, but there is an explanation there for us. Can the city parish sell or transfer its interest in adjudicated property? The answer is yes, but there's an explanation there. And then Civic Source. City Parish partners with Civic Source, right?
We do.
Talk
yes.
to them about what Civic Source is.
Civic Source is a resource as well. We are partnered with them, and they're out of New Orleans. I'm glad this came up as well, because recently, actually, a lot of notices went out. So we've had some people asking us, what's this notice out of New Orleans telling me properties being sold? It's most likely Civic Source. They do the same thing we do when they sell property, except they do a 30-year title search. So fees are incurred. So you would pay more with Civic Source, but you get more. When you purchase adjudicated property through us, it is a non-warranty cash sale. So if you want to, say, build on the property or get a loan from the bank later on, it would be really important for you to visit a title company and make sure that's taken care of. As opposed to with Civic Source, they do that for you. But again, you pay for it.
Yes. Well,
And their website is also linked on that brla.gov as well.
And that's Civic Source. Then standard filed with the office of the parish attorney. And so again, just saying, before you file anything with the parish attorney's office, you must first determine that the property that in which you're interested in has been adjudicated. What are the costs to open a standard file with the office of the parish attorney? And the basic fee is $500. So you must have $500 to open a file. How much do I bid? Great question on a standard file. Got information here about that. So I think you all need this information here. Apart from the initial fees to open the file and the sales price I offer, what other costs and or expenses should I expect? And see, this is of utmost importance. You need to know what kind of money you need in order to get what you're trying to get. Not free, but it's a great, great price here. And the last thing, redemption of that adjudicated property. And so all of you out there in that listening audience, if you want to get this packet here, we're going to make copies of it and make sure that we have the information here that can answer all of your questions. And then once you've done your homework, as Segen says, then you can call. And a part of that homework is understanding the process. You understand the process, you have your money, then you can call Segen in that order. Anything else, Segen, you want to tell the listening audience, or have we covered everything?
I think that about covers it. We also have these packets at City Hall if you run out.
Okay.
So if anyone needs them, they're on the 9th floor.
The 9th floor at City Hall. So you can come 222 St. Louis Street, 9th floor, or you can come over here at the Leo S. Butler Center right here. We will have it for you. And at the community center, so we'll have it for you right here on Laurie Burgess, 950 Laurie Burgess. Well, as we close, we want to remind you to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our podcast, Coleman Cares Podcast. And so I just want to say to you, Segen, this was some information that the people of the parish, the people of District 10 all over need to know this information. And as we sit here, we glean just a little bit more, little nuggets as we talk. So I want to thank you for joining us today and pinch hitting for Billy Aaron, and I appreciate you just for being able to come and share. And so I say to you all out there, I want you to remember, you must remember that Coleman cares.
Count on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.